Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome, Ted, Darlene. I see a couple other people are popping in now. Caesar, Pam. So John, of course. So we're, we only have a couple more weeks left in the year, which is very exciting. If you're not making money now, you're not going to, basically. But, don't stop selling. I mean, that's all I see on every Facebook group is, last week is when are you going to stop buying or stop shipping? And this week is when did you stop? But, obviously, if you're in my mastermind, you know that there is no stopping. You should never be stopping. There's no reason to stop. The middle of December is not when you should be going on vacation. You should be going on vacation, in May or June. You want to take a month off, do it then, because you should be selling, full blast well through January, still at Q4 rates. And then after that, of course, we got Valentine's Day and right into Easter and, all the holidays beyond. And, things really don't slow down. A few days before Christmas is not the end. Now is the time that we should still be pushing our products in. You're going to have a very good month. A lot of people have a better January than they do December. So, don't stop shipping. Don't stop shipping now. If it doesn't make it there for Christmas, then it doesn't make it. But the stuff is still going to sell. There's just as many people buying now. If you're selling $300 toys and those really, really inflated products, of course, those aren't going to be as such of a high premium, but everything else is still going to be selling. It's going to be selling very well. And let's not forget about that. And while we're talking about that, I don't know. I see Valerie on my screen. I don't know if that's what everyone else sees.
No, I see you. I don't know. Hopefully not, because I was just not on it.
Okay, so I'm the spotlight anyway. So, a couple things I want to talk about is preparing for the end of the year, which I posted a link, which if you just came in, you wouldn't have seen that. I'll post that again, but and I posted it in the mastermind group as well. So let me just paste that one more time. And what this was prepared by my CPA. I have really one of the best accountants around. And if you're in Florida, I definitely recommend, contacting him. I can give you his information. I've sent dozens, maybe hundreds of clients to him. And he owns his firm. He has a PhD in accounting. I mean, you're not going to get anyone more well-trained than that. He's a CPA. He went to college basically as far as you can get. He does a great job. They can do everything from you giving them the stuff, and they basically fill out the forms for you to, they'll train you in QuickBooks or whatever you use. We use Xero, and I have a VA that basically categorizes everything. I just import my stuff, and he asks me some questions, and I can also turn you on to that if you're interested in doing it that way. But this link is a 2-page checklist that he's put together, and what we do is we give them our paperwork, we give them access to our Xero account, and but they can train you in QuickBooks. I think they charge like $100 an hour for training, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time to do that. Or you can just send them your receipts and they'll do it. And wherever you live, I'm sure there's some people like that as well. So, I don't recommend anybody does this themselves. It may cost you a few $100 more. Hey, Ted, you sent me that privately. I don't know if you noticed, but you can click on everyone if you want everyone to see the messages. But I'm not using QuickBooks. I am using Xero, which is it's similar to QuickBooks. It's got a lot more integrations. It's xero.com. I'll post that in the links. I don't have an affiliate link or anything for that one, but oops. So that's the link to it. A lot of people like that. You can import from, I believe you can import from Amazon. We don't actually import all our individual things into our accounting tool. What we do is take the information at the end of the year and we import that, and then we use all of our expenses and we do import that into Xero, and then we give all the stuff at the end of the year. So I give all the receipts and we total them up ourselves because I have employees to do it. But we count up all our receipts. We give them, the credit card statements and everything is automatically imported into Xero. And we give all that information to our accountant, and then he basically puts all the stuff together. But if you want to just send, the accounts and just bookkeepers, you don't actually have to pay for a CPA to do that job. You can get a bookkeeper a lot cheaper than the actual CPA. So you would, the way we do it's a little different than what a lot of people do it, because I have, the structure already there and employees already working. So, what you may want to do is take your, and I'm not, a CPA, so I can't give you, specific things for what's going on in your state, but obviously I can tell you what works for us. And if you're in Florida, what works for me will probably work for you. And if you're not in Florida, I wouldn't recommend you use my CPA, because you're going to have to find another one to do part of it for your state, because they're only trained, they're only licensed in their home state. And we actually don't have state income taxes here, so all we have to worry about is the federal, which is why a lot of people keep moving to Florida. Anyone who has any serious money moves to Florida. Billionaires are all moving to Florida. It doesn't seem like a lot, but even a few percent, if you're making tens of millions of dollars, is really going to add up, which I'm not doing. But a lot of billionaires lately have moved to Florida over the last couple of decades because there's no income tax for the states. All you have to worry about is that federal. We've only been
using Xero.
Right. I was just about to answer that. We've only been using it this year. I really, in the past, haven't used any accounting software. And I still believe that it's not necessary. It's just, we have so many different types of businesses going, and we have some other stuff that's going on. So that's just going to add to it. So, just for our Amazon business, my accountant and I never thought that was necessary. You can give them all your expenses. You know exactly what your income is. You probably only have a couple income streams. So if you're working a job, you can take that, all your taxes at the end of the year, what you get from your employer. You get a form from Amazon showing you what all your totals are. You don't have to have each individual transaction. You can give them all that information. And then all you have to worry about is what all your expenses were. And you probably have bills for all that, or you can download them. If you have a cable bill, which everybody should have for their internet, your electric, your whatever it is, all your fuel expenses. And you can just give that all to them, give them the totals, and, that's all you really need. And that's worked for us. But now we have, income from PayPal. We have income from, Gumroad or Gumroad lists and subscriptions. Our subscription programs, so we have a lot of different income. So I'm now using Xero because, I really need a better look at where all the money's going and, where it's coming from. And, when we just had an Amazon business, there wasn't, a whole lot to worry about. As well as investments and, whatever else you may have going on. So I didn't need all that. I didn't need to look at all that information that specifically, and now we do. And now we've been doing all that. So if you need like a virtual assistant that can bring all that data in, we have a really good one at. We've hired a good one, and we can put you in touch with them as well. So. And I'm sure that Nathan has some if you're using QuickBooks as well. So, the point isn't about using zero. It's about, keeping track of, and seeing where your money's going. And it's, if you need to be spending all of that stuff. Now, if it's something you do need to be spending, and I've mentioned this over and over, then I really think you should spend it now. If you think you're going to owe any taxes, then you need to spend the money now, because the more money you spend this year, it's going to take that away from your income. So, remember, the most important thing is tracking your driving, tracking the miles you drive, because that's going to take a giant chunk. If you haven't done a lot with your Amazon business in the past, and you are now, then your driving mileage is going to take a huge chunk out of what you owe. It's going to take from owing thousands to possibly getting a refund. I remember one year we had over 200,000. I don't think it was that year. The year before, I think we had about 80,000 in sales, and I ended up getting a $2,000 refund. It was over $2,000 because from head of household to all the other information, and fuel expenses and all that, and being self-employed, you get refunds for that. So we ended up getting money back without paying a penny into our federal sales tax. Yes, definitely. Valerie has brought up a great point. We use, for mileage tracking, a tool called Mile IQ. It's an app. It's for, and it's actually $5.99 a month, and I think you can get a deal by buying it by the year. And you can sign up on the site, or you can either do that or pay through your phone, like as a paid monthly app, which is what I think we do. And what it does is it tracks all your mileage, so you can swipe right or left. You swipe, I think, left for if it's a personal expense, and you swipe right if it's a business expense. And then if you go to a specific Walmart, it's going to just probably say the city wherever your home is to a city. So you can type in home for the home one, and then from then on, it's going to know that location is home. And then when you're at that Walmart, like I live near a town called Brandon, I would type in Brandon Walmart, or however you want to designate that Walmart. And then you can do that for every stop. And once you punch it in, it's saved forever. And then you get a monthly, basically a monthly CSV file you can download, and then you get one for the year. And you can punch in how many, how many cents a mile. I think it's like 56 cents a mile now you get. So if you punch in 56 cents, it's going to tell you, hey, you saved $200 by using the app this month, or you may have saved this much, because you're going to say if it's business or personal. And then when they're personal ones, you're taking the kid to school or whatever, going out to eat, then you can just remove it by swiping left or right, whatever it is. And then you'll just have your business expenses that you can give to your CPA at the end of the year for every month. And, for the yearly one, it's going to give you a tally of everything for the whole year. It's really an awesome tool. And if you don't do, it's always running in the background. So if you don't go in there and, categorize anything for 2 months, it's still there. You just go in there when you have, you're sitting waiting for somebody, picking your kids up from school. You swipe if it's right, left, enter what they are in there, and that's it whenever you have free time. So it's not something you always have to stay up to date on. It's always going to be logging it. It's going to show you a little map of the from and to. It's all in that video. So if you watch the My IQ video, but I think everybody should have that. anybody who's logging mileage should be using that. So, getting back to your accounting now, we'll put in a little plug in here. Probably in the next, right around Christmas time, we're going to do a deal. You know, if you think you're going to be using this again, we're going to give you, if you're going to stay with us, we're going to give you a big discount. We do this once a year that ends on New Year's Eve, where you can pay for the whole year, and you're going to save a little bit of money. It's the only time we give a discount. So if you pay for the whole year, you'll be able to get, you know, a whole year subscription paid for, and you're going to pay for it this year. So, you know, it's going to be discounted from whatever your rate is. You know, some people, when we first started this, it was only $50. Of course, we couldn't afford to keep doing that with all the value we give you guys. Now it's $100. So you'll get a discount based on whatever you paid, but it'll be like a set price. So, you know, if it's $100 a month, then you're going to get it for, you know, 1,000 or less, and you'll get a bunch of extra stuff too. And it's the only time you're able to get a discount. You know, we don't do discounts on the Mastermind. Obviously, we give so much extra value than you think you would get, but you'll be able to pay for it this year. So it'll go on this year's payment. And I say that not just for the Mastermind, anything you're subscribed to, you know, pay for that year. I know tactical arbitrage. I talked to him at length. It's just very complicated in his system. He's not going to be able to do that yearly, but I think just about everything else, you know, even new tools out there. So that end of it's not working that great. But I know Scam Power gives you a huge discount every year. Whatever you're using, Inventory Lab, I'm pretty sure they have a yearly subscription. So whatever it is that you're using, you probably have some kind of deal where you can either be paying quarterly or paying yearly, or even if you don't get a discount, if you have the extra money from all your sales right now, you should pay for that. You should pay for it now. Even if, you know, it's you don't get a discount, it may be in your best interest just to pay for that up front, and do that for anything you're going to do. You know, if you think you're going to expand next year and you need 2 scanners to scan your products into Amazon, or if you need, you know, you're thinking about getting a computer, buy it before the end of the year. Buy, you know, don't worry about buying 1 roll of labels at a time. Buy a 10-pack or 20-pack or, you know, a 50-pack a roll of labels, because you know you're going to need them next year. You know, buy cases of printer paper and anything else you think you're going to need, tape, boxes. Buy it all this year. What's the difference if you buy it now or a week after the new year? You're going to need that stuff. You know you're going to need that stuff. You know, there's no scenario where you're not going to need tape anymore, or not going to need labels, or, you know, a new label printer or laser printer, or, you know, whatever supplies that can go to your business. Buy them now. Buy them before the end of the year. It just makes more sense, and product as well. Don't be one of those guys who says, I'm trying to get rid of all my stuff before the end of the year. You know, I did that the first couple of years until I figured out you don't want the least amount you can have. You want the most amount of product you can have, because when that next year comes, all that stuff is going to be part of your assets. It's not going to be something that you're going to have to pay taxes on. If you buy it now instead of on January 1st, you're not going to pay taxes on it. So with that, I just want to go over real quick. Let's see. Now this is a business one. I'll also post. I posted this in the Mastermind group, and I'm going to share my screen. But okay. I want to share my screen so you guys can, and this is the same one I posted in the chat, I posted in the group, and this is a business tax return checklist that they put together for us, not really for us, but for their clients, and there's also a different one for personal, so I'll post that one as well. And a lot of you may be doing your business taxes as your personal. So, if you have a regular LLC that's not a corporation, then you're still going to be doing it as personal. So I'm just going to run through these real quick. If you have any questions on any of this, please let me know. Copy of prior year returns if they didn't prepare them, of course, annual gross revenue, and any applicable sales and service records. So this is, for most of you, just going to be, if you sold anything on PayPal, just print out they give you an end of the year thing that you can print out for taxes, and Amazon's going to give you one if you made over whatever it is, $10,000 or $15,000 for the year. So you have to wait a couple weeks into the next year, and then any other income you made. End of year statements for all accounts, banks and credit cards. I mean, this is all basically common sense right here. Inventory data, if applicable, beginning, purchase, ending, returns and allowances. So what we do is we work on what's called a cash system for our Amazon business. So we're going to tell him, we're going to make an estimate on what the value is. So, I basically print out our inventory report and take all the sales prices and then multiply that. So I'll take the amount of products, multiply that times the selling price, whatever the sales price is, and then we're going to just sum up that whole column, in Excel. And then, so that's what the total selling price is. And then we're going to make an estimate of what the wholesale price would be, our buy price based on the sell price. So, whatever we figured out that number to be. So if you buy things for, 20% of the sell price or 80% of the sell price, then we're just going to multiply that total times whatever percentage it is. Any interest-bearing income that you have, maybe for any other kind of investments or on your bank accounts. Almost all bank accounts actually pay interest. Some of them are like 0.1%, but it's still maybe income over the course of the year. Business expenses. So some common examples equal this. So we actually separate our receipts into 4 things. Fuel receipts, and then automobile expenses like changes of oil, repairs, maintenance is the second one, and then items for resale, and then business expenses, which would be things for our business that we had to buy that we could not resell. So, of course, the things here: advertising, business, bad debts, rent, office supplies, vehicle expenses, utilities, continuing education, which is anything you pay here. Of course, the Mastermind and anything you pay to educate yourself is going to be a business expense. Anything for your business is going to be categorized as a business expense of some kind. Parking and tolls, bank fees, meals, entertainment, travel, any other expenses. All tax and license amounts paid during the year, payroll documentation, so any W-2s issued to employees, 1099s issued to independent contractors, quarterly reports, your annual 940. This is mostly for your, filing your either LLCs or, if you have a S Corp, C Corp, any of that, and any other payroll reports, receipts, invoices for fixed assets, real estate or vehicles, depreciation schedule from a prior return, which could be, any business-owned vehicles, property that's, depreciated in value, any account balances that are owed by the company, any account balances that are owed by you or by others, any account balances that are owed to you, that are owed to you by others. And then this is just company information. If it's owned by multiple people, you need the information on that. The amount each owner or partner or whatever have invested in the company. So if you have any investors, anybody who's put money into the actual company, your federal tax ID number, your QuickBooks information, or zero. You can create a login for your accountant, for your CPA to log in and get the data. If you do a QuickBooks backup, they can load it into their QuickBooks. Of course, there's a password. That's why it asks for the password. There's always has to be a password for that. Any other information that'd be relevant to the company. And then, you know, an area for any notes. Just so this is just so you can get everything together before you go. You don't want to pay for an hour or hours of their time and then, you know, not have all the information. So this is just, you know, a rough checklist of, you know, some of the things that you may need to be prepared for. And I'm going to try, you know, over the next couple months and have him come on, you know, and do a private chat so you can ask any kind of questions you may have that would, he wouldn't be able to answer any state like tax questions or income tax, but anything to do with your federal taxes and tax returns and general tax questions he'll be able to answer. And of course, nothing specific to your state because, again, you know, you have to be licensed for each state that you're going to be filing in. So is there any questions on preparing or getting ready for any of that stuff? As well, I do want to note the, you know, your tactical arbitrage, you know, if you have any lists that you'd like to, you're thinking about buying, or, you know, if you want to upgrade to any of those, you know, you can get with me privately and I will, I'll definitely, you know, try and work with you. So if you bought some singles, then, you know, I can give you refunds on some of those if you want to upgrade to a bundle and all that, you know, before the end of the year, you know, just so you can get the biggest bang for your buck on that. No questions. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to some other questions that that we had. And John had asked us about, you know, dealing with the issues with. John had asked about dealing with what to do when you have a lot of, you know, brands getting gated, and, you know, if you're a newer seller, the newer you are, the more brands you're going to have that's gated to you, and you're going to be blocked from selling. And I just don't care about those. Is really the short answer to that. You know, there are hundreds of thousands of different brands that you can sell, and, you know, if I can't sell Nike, which I can, but if I couldn't, who cares? You know, if you can't sell a brand, find other stuff you can sell. There is, you know, over 100 million products listed on Amazon. If it's not, then listed on Amazon. So real quick, Caesar, I don't want to get too far away from our original thing, but what tactic do I use to come up with my cost of goods sold? We basically look at our total for the year. I mean, we can add up all our receipts and find out what our cost of total stuff that we bought, but we make a percentage of, you know, the products that we sell. We look at, you know, a lot of the products we sell, what they sold for, what we paid for them, but we don't look at, you know, the individual, all the individual items we have in inventory and then go back and figure them out. We just don't log all of that information, and, you know, our accountant doesn't deem it necessary. So, you know, we're not going to waste tens or hundreds of hours, you know, a month doing that with the amount of stuff we buy. But getting back to John's original question, you know, don't worry about the stuff you can't sell. Worry about the stuff you can sell, and you know, just move on from there. You know, I mean, I run into tons of stuff that, you know, okay, you know, there's a lot of good deals in that. And over time, the deals get better and better because there's less people that can sell them. So you can either do two things. You can figure out how to sell them, or you can move on and not worry about all that stuff you're not allowed to sell. And for the most part, I do that. You know, we have been able to get people and ourselves get ungated in certain brand restrictions. And it's really not that hard. We've gone over it, you know, a lot of times in the Mastermind webinars. And, you know, the simple way to do that is, you know, you contact the manufacturer, ask for some authorized distributors, or find an authorized distributor, which would be, you know, a wholesale distribution company that may have dozens or hundreds of different brands that they sell for. And the easiest way is to say, you know, I'm located in whatever it is, and you're going to be talking to somebody at customer service of this brand. So, you know, Nike, for example, which they won't, you know, you can't be a reseller on Amazon for Nike, but what you can do is you contact them, you contact the company, and you ask them for local distributors. And what we do is it's just going to be some random customer service person. You're going to say, I'm located in, you know, the zip code 33594 in Tampa, Florida, and I'm looking for an authorized distributor, an authorized wholesale distributor in my area. And it's just going to be some random customer service person, and they're going to say, here's our full list of distributors, or here's, you know, a list for the Southeast. So once you do that, you'll have a list of these companies. So you contact the company, you open an account. You don't say I was sent here by Nike. You don't do any of that. You just open your wholesale account. You give them whatever information they need to know. And then you make a purchase from them, or you know, we'll use Nike as the example. Of course, it won't work, but you say, you know, I need a letter, you know, proving that you know, these were legally obtained, you know, showing that I'm authorized to sell this product, and they're going to give you a letter that you know, that says, you know, we authorize this company, whatever your wholesaler is, to sell, you know, to sell our brand. It's going to be on Nike letterhead. It's going to be signed by some authorized representative for the company, and it's not going to have your information on it. It'll have the wholesaler's information on it. So now you have a chain of command from the manufacturer to a distributor, and then you make a purchase of Nike shoes from that distributor. And then you have an invoice from the distributor with your information on, with their information on it, and that you bought Nike shoes. And so now you have a chain of custody from the manufacturer to a wholesale distributor to you. You supply that letter and your invoice, or multiple invoices if Amazon wants it for that, and they're going to, and then you're going to give all that to Amazon, and that's how you prove that you're authorized to sell that product. And now you're ungated for that brand, and you have to do that for every brand that you want to get ungated in. If they have an application cost, you have to pay that fee, and that's all there is to it. When Star Wars, whatever it was, Episode 7, they did have some other rules to go along with it. You had to have sold $50,000 in toys in that calendar year, you know, and have some metrics that matched. But they also wanted that information, and that's what we did. And if it's toys, you go to Entertainment Earth. I mean, everybody should have an account there. Tactical Arbitrage supports it. We made a bulk list there. Basically every brand that they sell, their distributors right from the manufacturer. So, you know, if you want to be ungated in any of that stuff, I mean, we got dozens of people ungated in Star Wars, and I know of hundreds of people who got ungated from other Mastermind. Sam Cohen and some other people used the same process, and just about everybody got ungated to sell Star Wars through Entertainment Earth by just providing that information. Buying one test order, buying one case of a couple things, that were Star Wars, and that's it. Nothing can be easier, or just avoid it entirely. There's so many other brands. That's, for the most part, we do that. If you got a big brand and you're finding a ton of stuff, or you have a wholesaler that, is an authorized distributor for the stuff, then, it's so easy to do that. So John asked, I'm pricing my inventory for Q4. Should I keep my prices higher so people run out of inventory? I can capitalize on the higher prices, or should I just price things normally to get the buy box so I can get my inventory sold? I price my stuff competitively. So, if I'm making, this is the biggest problem where people say a race to the bottom, but it's not really what happens. What happens is, normally throughout the year is, we're small sellers, but there's big sellers on Amazon who have 10,000 different brands. And when we list something, we look at all the other sellers, we see what the buy box is, we, spend a few minutes and look at all that information, and we're going to price, 5% above the buy box or match the buy box price or whatever that is. And we're going to decide what the best way to get the most amount of money out is. Every seller's not doing that. What most sellers are, most big sellers that are selling millions and tens of millions of dollars on Amazon every year, they're making a list and buying, everything from Nike they can from their distributor and sending it to Amazon or listing it on Amazon, or downloading a list from here and pushing that feed to Amazon and setting their prices, 20% above, their wholesale, or setting it 5% above MAP, or, they're sending a feed to Amazon with automated pricing. And then they say, oh, I'm getting $50. Why is this guy taking $20? Because he's not looking to see what the best price is. He's basing it on whatever his MAP price has to be, or he's basing it on what his buy cost was. He says, oh, well, I need to make 20%, so I'm going to take my wholesale price, add the fees in, add 20%, or, take the wholesale price, add 20% to it, and then add the fees to Amazon, and that's going to be what my price is. And that's what almost everybody you see complaining on, on all the Facebook groups, that's what they're complaining about. I know how it works. I'm not ever going to be complaining about people racing to the bottom. I don't care what other people do. I'm going to do what I do. But in response to you, you need to be pricing your items where they're going to sell. So I compare my price to the buy box or to what everyone else is doing. So if you want to be just above the buy box, so when the buy box guy sells out, then you're the next highest price, then that's how I would do it. Make sure your stuff is going to sell, unless you have artificially inflated stuff. If you have Hashimals or whatever else that's selling for $200-$300, and there's dozens of items that are selling for high prices. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to keep those high prices. But I wouldn't say, oh, price this what you do all year long, or price this at a higher price for Q4. What I'm going to say is, price it based on how everyone else is selling it. So don't sell the item that's selling for 50 for 20 because you usually get 20 for it. Price it based on your competition. Look at your competition. Look at what's selling. If you have an item that you think is selling well, and ask me privately about this stuff. I'll look at any product. That goes for everybody. If you don't know if you should buy something, or if you have something that, usually when you need to start pricing down, don't worry about what your competition's going to think. Don't worry if you're going to create a race to the bottom. If something's not selling, if you have a 100,000 ranked toy right now, and it's priced at $100 and everybody has it $100, but it's not selling, then maybe that's beyond the selling price for it. Maybe it needs to be at $80 or $30. And price it that way if you need to. So matching everyone else's price isn't always the best bet. If you got 40 of them and you can't sell them, then you may need to go significantly lower. Um, you know, and remember, the closer we get to Christmas, over the next couple weeks, people are going to be slashing their prices like crazy. A lot of people max out every credit card to get all this stuff to Amazon, and they have to pay their bills now. So, people are going to be dumping stuff as quick as they can to get their money back out to pay their bills. But as they dump the stuff, you're still there because you don't have to sell that this week, and because I've told you over and over, not just John, but everybody, that, prices are going to, still sell the week after Christmas and into New Year's and into January. A lot of this stuff is still going to sell. I'm not saying, hold on to everything, don't sell anything for Christmas, but this stuff is still going to sell. So when everybody dumps everything and sells it for, their cost or less, and sells out of it because it's so cheap, well, you're still going to be there with, a reasonable price after that stuff all sells out. And when people are selling hundreds or thousands of an item, just dumping it to get their money back out, well, what that's going to do? That's going to drop the rank significantly. It's going to be higher up in the search results, and then you're going to have a lot better chance of selling that stuff.
He just added to that question. So just keep buying and shipping to Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Never stop buying and shipping to Amazon. Don't worry about all of that. Just keep sending your stuff in. It's going to keep selling. Toys sell all year. Everything sells all year. Obviously, 50,000 rank now is going to sell faster than it does in 2 months or 1 month. But, you're still going to have significant sales, well through January. And I don't think, Valerie, I'm not sure what you said, but the formula for winning the buy box, we can make a whole webinar on that. But it's really one thing I can tell you as far as the buy box. I could have my product could have the buy box when I look at it, but when Valerie looks at it, you don't. It's based on more on shipping costs than really anything. So, if somebody's on the West Coast, if Valerie's in California and I'm in Florida, well, here in Florida right now it's almost 9 o'clock. So UPS may not be shipping from the warehouse that's going to get to me. But if she's in California, so if I order something today and buy it now, well, it's not going to get picked up till tomorrow. So now they have to do overnight shipping to get it to me in 2 days. But if Valerie orders the same item, then she's going to get it. It's only, let's say 9. So on the West Coast, it's only 6 p.m. So Amazon can still get, a UPS or whatever shipping they have. They can get a pickup for that still today. So now it's only 2 days shipping. It's going to be a lot cheaper for them. So they're going to show the buy box buyer that has, or seller that has a product, closer to the West Coast and still could make that pickup time instead of showing one, in Pennsylvania or in Florida or Tennessee or wherever it may be. So, where those products are physically located has a huge bearing on the buy box and how the buy box works.
Yeah, it was like that. Remember we had that, we were about to do that course on it, and remember we had that huge outline that we were creating a course. We should look for that again too, because I bet that would be a really great material to add to the blog on the buy box, and it had everything to do with from your ranking and how much feedback you get, but it's it was so many things that impact it, and so much more than others. But maybe we could find that and do a webinar on it, like you said.
On that, or
yeah.
I may just have some other people, do a roundtable discussion, Chris Green and Nate McAllister and some other people to talk about, the buy box, because, so many people don't understand how the buy box really works. And, if, 10 people could be looking at it and 10 different sellers could have the buy box for them. Not only does the buy box rotate between people, your location matters, as I just said, and the location of the products matter, and the time of day matters. There's probably hundreds of different criteria that makes that buy box, different things. So, any third-party tools that are showing you how much of the buy box you actually have, it's when they're going to check the site, so it has nothing to do with, how much it was shown to buyers, unless you're looking at the Amazon one, and you're going to be, sorely disappointed when it says 2%, 3%, which, if thousands of people are looking at those products every day, then, it's going to be completely different from, what you really think. So, yeah, our hour is already up. So if there's any last minute questions, I'd be happy to answer that. And of course, start worrying about getting your accounting done and look at whatever you can buy and spend money on, if you have money. If you didn't sell much this year, then you're probably not going to have to pay any taxes.
And just a small note, on January 11th, I think, I'm pretty sure it's January 11th for taxes. Just on that purpose, we are going to have tax jar on. It is going to be an afternoon webinar, so not our normal evening webinar, but we're going to record it and we'll have it on the blog. But taxes will be discussed with tax jar on January 11th for you guys. Just for
right. So they're going to be doing a webinar with us, and that's tax jar. So that's all sales taxes. That has nothing to do with your income tax that we were talking about tonight. We're talking about sales tax and where you need to register and all that other information. So, and Ted, the weather, Valerie is in Chicago, so her weather is 8.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It was 8 degrees. And I think we have, what do we got? 7 inches of snow right now? 8 inches?
What's the weather?
7, 8. I think we got 7, 8 of snow, and we have we got a half an inch coming tomorrow, and I think we have another 4 inches coming this weekend. So great.
It's a high of 82 today. Just saying. Degrees right now.
High of 80.
68.
82, and it's 68 now.
68, high of 82. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah,
it was so cold.
I would still go down there. You always tease me when I come down there of how cold I am when it's 75.
Okay, so
it has to be at least 90 degrees. Or I'm not coming to Florida. That's it. I put my foot down.
So John, again, was asking about Amazon's general trend of rapidly increasing the gating of more and more brands in general. If you think it's a bunch of fuss over nothing, then I'll leave it at that. Well, it's not over nothing. They are gating those brands. So, so yeah, definitely, it's something to worry about, I guess. But Amazon does not want to sell less stuff. They don't want less sellers. But, they have a big counterfeit problem. And on top of that, they're trying to expand into, countries like China where all the counterfeits are coming from. And they're pushing for those Chinese sellers. So that's causing a huge problem. So, it's the manufacturers. They don't say, hey, we don't want our sellers to sell Nike anymore, so we're going to have to do something to slow it down. It's Nike saying, hey, you have way too many counterfeiters on your platform and you need to do something about it, or we're going to sue you, or whatever it is, or the government's going to shut you down. So they can't allow that to happen. So they've done this where they only want authorized sellers for specific brands. And I can promise you, the small brands that don't care aren't getting gated. It's only the ones that are getting counterfeited, that are having problems, that the manufacturers are requesting this stuff to happen. If you're a manufacturer of a private label brand now, you can go and, request that only authorized sellers sell it. So then Now, if you have a private label brand, nobody can jump on your private label. You know, I know lots of private label brands that have done this. You can request that yourself, no matter what brand you own, so nobody else can sell that brand without authorization from you. So, you know, a lot of people are fussing over it because they were selling something that now they can't sell, so they're upset about it. But it's okay. Don't worry about it. Either get yourself ungated in that brand or don't. You know, don't. You know, we have no room in this group to complain about stuff. You know, I'm not saying anybody's complaining, but, you know, don't get into that mindset where you're just on Facebook or on forums or complaining about anything. You know, either there's a process to deal with it. If you want to sell a brand, follow the process, just like I laid out for you guys today, and do what I said. You know, find the authorized reseller, you know, open up an account and make a purchase, and then show that proof to Amazon. And now you're one of the few people on the inside of that problem that you just had, and now you don't have to worry about it. Now it's everybody else that can't sell that product, and you're one of the few people that can sell it. So, you know, there's no room to fuss or complain about it. Either get yourself ungated or go find something else to sell. You know, it's Amazon's playground, and, you know, we're just working in it, and we're taking advantage of everything we can. But even if you don't ever get ungated in a single brand, there's plenty of stuff to sell. So get out there and find that stuff you can sell. We have a very exhaustive list. I think it's way bigger, probably by double, than anyone else out there. So log into, you know, SeanMayo.com and go to Mastermind Basic, and it's, I think, restricted brands or something like that. And there's a huge list of like every ingredient that Amazon has listed, and every brand that we know of that you really can't sell. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not on there, and, you know, you might be able to sell that stuff. There's no way to tell unless you actually check. So,
We
yeah.
have it sorted category, I believe. Right?
What's that?
We have it sorted. I think we have it sorted by category, like the actual Amazon category. I think that's how we have it sorted by.
Right.
So that it's easy for you guys to navigate. Look at what category you're looking at. The brands are there, and, you know.
Right. So we have all the shoes together. We have, right, it's called restricted brands and products. And there's a lot of ingredients that people just don't understand. If you're selling groceries or selling,
makeup or, you know, things like.
Right. If you're selling,
I mean,
groceries,
brand, like
makeup,
face wash,
any of that stuff, there's a lot. There's actually a ton of ingredients that you can't sell, that people just don't know about. And most of those things, I'll tell you, are in, I was just trying to go to it here so I could show you guys, but let me share my screen real quick. So, okay, so you should see that. If we go to restricted brands and products here, you're going to see we have categorized this stuff by categories. So brands that you can't sell. Now, you know, North Face, just because it's under clothing, if they have some, I don't think they have anything else other than clothing, but, you know, Tommy Hilfiger, they have shoes. And I believe the shoes aren't restricted, but if you have a Tommy Hilfiger shoe, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be. This is just the main category you're going to find it under. Animals and animal products. And as you can see, we put under here things that have ingredients in it. Obviously, these are pretty, you know, strict bile or rabies or viruses and distemper, you know. But some of them are not so easy. There's obviously a ton of restricted cosmetic brands. But if you look under here, well, you can't sell anything with any of these ingredients, obviously chloroform, but here's one that most people don't know, minoxidil. So, this is for the hair growth. So you might not know that, but anything that has, any hair formula, you have to make sure it doesn't have 5% or more in it, or you can't sell that. Most aerosols are going to be hazmat anyway. No eyelash or eyebrow permanent dye. So anything that has this in here, you're not allowed to sell. And just because you list it and it doesn't say it's restricted, doesn't mean it's okay. And, you can see, some of these are just common sense, but, some of them aren't. Any scheduled drugs, anything from these brands. We used to sell a bunch of Microsoft, but, it's restricted now and we're not allowed to sell it. And I'm not going to go out and, figure out how to sell that. You can't sell new Nikon, but you can sell it used, OtterBox.
I'll redo this page will be under construction too soon as well. So we'll get this page to where it's a little bit more navigable for you guys. But
right, Valerie's
it'll be redone. But these are
all the pages in the blog right now, just to make it a little easier to navigate, since we did everything in phases. So as you look through here, this is gonna, most of these lists are like 1 or 2 pages. This one obviously has, a ton of information here. So just looking at any questions. Okay. So, always look at this, use this as a guide. If you see stuff from a brand, I would see if I can sell it. There's a ton of stuff. If I sold one of them 2 years ago, well, I might be unrestricted in it. I can sell Lego. I've talked to hundreds of people who can't sell Lego. Many of you guys I know can't sell Lego, but I can sell Lego because, and I know lots of people who can, because they sold hundreds of Lego sets and they have a history of that brand. And so Amazon's let them continue to sell it. And it's not just Lego. There's tons of brands that do that. So, yeah, don't take this as gospel. Take it as a guide. Amazon has really not said you can't sell most of this stuff. But enough people have reported that you can't sell it that we put it on here as something, these are brands that people have reported that, and not just one person says, hey, I can't sell Coach. These are things that a lot of people have told us that we've tried to sell most of these, and if we're allowed to sell something and people say you can't, then, we're going to have other people check. So this is stuff that most of them is not allowed to sell. Now, this information we pulled right from Amazon. So all of the ingredients, Amazon has told us that. And if you go here, if you have about, 10 hours to kill, you can come through here and check this out. But, I'm telling you, when you start going through here, and I believe it's this page, it's just completely ridiculous. I don't remember where the actual link is, but they've got like 100-page document of all the prohibited products. I don't remember exactly where it was. I thought we had that listed on here, but maybe not.
Which one are you looking for?
That.
I don't have my computer on me. I'm on the phone. Which one are you looking for?
I was just looking for that Amazon list of all the products, all the ingredients that you can't sell, but I don't see it here, but it's fine.
The ingredients list, it's in there. You mean on the restricted brands? We have that because it's like a really long one.
It doesn't matter, Valerie. Right. So Amazon has a list that is probably at least 100 pages long of all the individual ingredients you can't sell. But a lot of them are common sense. A lot of them are prescription medicines, and so we've narrowed it down to no scheduled drugs and no this and no that. And so we kind of just narrowed all that down for you guys. So, all right, so we'll wrap it up. It's like way after 9:00 now, but any questions, send me a private message. Until next week, and we'll see you guys then. Good night.